The year is 1405. I have a problem. People keep asking if the Ming court can reach beyond the horizon.
Then send me, your majesty. I will show them with ships.
With respect, sir, horizon is a poetic word. Taxes are not poetic. Repairing ships is not poetic. Feeding thousands is not poetic.
Thousands is the point. The empire will look west, it will look far.
I understand the logic. Power needs distance.
Distance also needs resources, lots of them.
It also needs discipline. A fleet is not a fishing boat. It is an arm of the state.
Speak plainly. Could Europe build such a fleet in time to challenge us?
Not at this scale, not quickly. In the 15th century, their major ships are smaller. They will catch up later.
Later. Convenient word. Meanwhile, who pays for later?
I do. The empire pays, and we pay in prestige.
Also, in maps, navigation data, coast lists, harbours, currents.
And in funerals. Do not pretend there are no losses.
There will be. The sea does not care about court arguments.
Good. Then let the sea learn to care about the Ming.
We will sail in a formation the world recognizes, hundreds of ships, tens of thousands of crew.
Hundreds. Tens of thousands.
Imagine every dock in the empire running at once. Water, timber, rope, food, medicine.
And every port we reach will see the same thing. The Ming is not local.
They will also see how much we spend.
They will see tribute arrive. They will see letters. They will see the navy that can enforce respect without crossing swords.
Tribute is not begging. It is a handshake with a uniform.
I am not yet on the throne, but I have heard this story.
Yes, you will hear it often. And then you will hear the version where it ends badly.
I like fewer versions. Fewer. Just one.
First voyage. We move with precision. The compass and the stars keep us honest. The fleet keeps its shape.
While your officials write reports that get folded into drawers,
Reports become routes. Routes become control. Control becomes stability.
stability for whom? For coastal merchants, or for court scholars who prefer stability in ink?
Stability means the empire does not flinch.
I land where I am welcomed. I also land where the welcome has to be negotiated. That is diplomacy with sails.
So you claim it is diplomacy?
It is. But it is also logistics. We anchor, we exchange goods, we adjust sails and schedules, we read the local politics fast.
Read it fast, then leave.
Leave. Yes. The goal is to extend the Ming's authority, not to trap ourselves in permanent occupations.
That's what people said when I was younger, too.
And when did it stop being extend authority and start being wasteful?
When the emperor died. That part one, no.
Listen, I chose these voyages because I wanted the empire to be seen.
And because you wanted the empire to be remembered.
Exactly. The world shifts. If we do not move first, others move first.
Others did move first, eventually. But by then you were gone.
Second voyage. We reach beyond the familiar routes. Ports in India's west. The Arabian Sea.
Names sound impressive.
Calicut, Hormuz, Aden. Along the East African coast, Malindi, Mogadishu, places that had their own networks.
Tribute from dozens of nations. That line is always said like it fixes everything.
It does what it needs to do. It proves distance can be governed.
I picture caravans, wagons, horses. Then someone says, no, ships.
Ships are faster, ships are louder, ships arrive with the weight of the state.
Ships are also expensive. They do not age gracefully.
The fleet can be rebuilt. If the court resists, rebuild anyway.
If. Rebuild. Always if. Always later.
By the fourth voyage and beyond, the pattern is clear. We can reach far, we can return, we can keep records.
And you can bring back stories that make young officials drunk on ambition.
Ambition is not the problem. Unplanned ambition is.
What happened exactly to end it?
The simplest answer, our emperor died.
The Yongle emperor.
Yes. When he passed, the court wanted to reduce risk, and Confucian scholars, well, let's call them what they are, saw the voyages as wasteful.
Wasteful. Destabilizing.
Those were their words. Wasteful expenditure. Disrupts agriculture. Pulls manpower from proper duties.
And also questions imperial priorities. Because an ocean fleet looks like a new center of power.
That last part is true.
The admirals and shipbuilders become influential. The eunuchs who manage fleets become influential. The court does not like parallel power.
The court does not like anything it cannot control.
I am supposed to believe this was mainly politics.
It was politics in robes, Confucian language, moral framing.
Moral framing often comes with a bill attached.
Exactly.
I served across the Rhine. I watched the tone shift.
Tone shifts when the emperor changes. Under Yongle, the court could tolerate spending for spectacle.
I tolerated it because I was right.
You were strategic. The empire needed leverage.
And now the question is, what leverage? You returned tribute, then you returned ships, then the cost kept coming.
And then you stopped.
They stopped building. They banned shipbuilding. They let older vessels rot. Some were deliberately dismantled. Some were stripped for timber and metal.
Letting ships rot is still a decision.
It is cheaper than maintaining readiness for voyages you no longer support.
So the fleet was simply abandoned.
Not simply. Policies were issued. Shipyards dismantled. Workers reassigned.
Shipyards are not just buildings. They hold skills. If you break them, the skill pool drains away.
That is the point. We do not want that kind of capability lying around. Capabilities can become leverage. Leverage can become politics you dislike.
What about the records? The maps? The route notes?
Some were suppressed, some were misplaced, some were burned.
Burned?
Archivists call it clearing clutter. Scholars call it correcting emphasis.
Correcting emphasis. On whose emphasis?
The courts.
The irony is cold. You keep the empire's old stories, but delete the ones that show how far the empire reached.
You cannot have a future that depends on memories.
But you can have a future that depends on budgets.
When a naval system is dismantled, it takes more than time to bring it back.
Right, and that's why the reversal mattered. It was not just stopping voyages. It was removing the infrastructure that made voyages possible.
So the ships rotted, the shipyards closed, and the knowledge got buried.
Or destroyed.
Or redirected into safer projects.
And meanwhile, the rest of the world?
The rest of the world kept moving.
Slowly at first, but then suddenly, European maritime exploration was about to accelerate. Their states were searching for routes, profits, and global leverage.
They didn't need to catch up in a day. They just needed the Ming Navy to fall behind enough.
Exactly. Chinese naval dominance vanished just as European ships were preparing for long-distance expansion on their own terms.
Not because Europe was superior at sea, because Europe had momentum, and we lost ours.
That is a tragedy dressed as accounting.
Tragedy is for poets. I prefer outcomes.
Outcomes. I can handle outcomes. Let me ask it bluntly. If the fleet had continued westward, if shipbuilding had not been banned, what would the world look like?
Dangerous question. Answers are political.
I will answer it plainly.
Please.
The obvious change is trade and knowledge. China already had the capacity to connect coasts across the Indian Ocean and beyond. If it kept going, the network would have deepened. Ports would know the pattern: arrive, exchange, honor, repeat. Over decades, that becomes influence, not one-off visits.
Influence can turn into something heavier.
Maybe, but even without permanent conquest, sustained presence shapes routes, cartography improves, languages spread through commerce, techniques spread too.
So Europe's discovery might arrive later, or in a different form.
Or with stronger competition, European powers would have entered a world where China already controlled the baseline routes. They would have had to negotiate, not just gamble.
Or they would have tried harder and earlier.
Sure, but they wouldn't be alone in the story. The balance of global power could shift away from Europe's later dominance.
Less domination, more shared pressure.
Or simply different domination. History rarely gives pure outcomes.
That's fair. Still, something changes.
Think about timing. Zhang He's voyages took place in the early 1400s. If those capabilities were preserved, then by the late 1400s, China would have still been a major naval player.
And Europe would have met a stronger counterweight.
Which means fewer blank maps and more contested routes.
What about the world might look like part?
It would look more connected earlier. That part is likely.
Earlier connections mean earlier disputes too.
Yes, but it also means earlier problem solving. You do not sail far without learning how fragile trade is.
And you do not maintain fleets without learning how expensive stability is.
So what killed the fleet wasn't weather.
Correct.
It was the court choosing a different kind of stability.
The court chose internal order over ocean leverage.
It dismantled a system that could have kept the empire powerful outward. Then it hid the proof it ever reached outward.
That last part, burned records, closed shipyards, that feels like rewriting history.
The court does not rewrite for fun. It rewrites to reduce future demands. If the evidence of capability is gone, the argument for continuing it becomes weaker.
So memory was treated like contraband.
Knowledge kept alive is power that can argue back.
I built a fleet to make the empire undeniable.
And then the empire made the fleet deniable.
Different regimes, same fear, power that cannot be easily governed.
I want one last straight line. Zheng He sails from 1405 to 1433. Massive fleet, big ambition. Then Yongle dies. Then Hongxi, Mi, faces a court that calls the voyages wasteful. Shipbuilding is banned. Ships rot or are dismantled. Shipyards are dismantled. Records are burned or suppressed. And by the time Europeans accelerate, China's naval dominance is gone. That's the turning point.
Yes, one quiet dismantling across years becomes a global shift.
Quiet is the word. There were no sea battles that ended the fleet.
There was just policy that changed what the empire wanted.
And what it wanted changed what the world became.
That is history. No melodrama. Just decisions.
If the fleet had continued westward exploration steady and sustained, then Europe might have entered a world where China was already present and organized across the same oceans.
A different map, a different timeline.
Or maybe the same map, but later conflicts.
Either way, the world would not have been handed to Europe by default.
So the cold conclusion is this. The Ming didn't lose the sea to nature. It chose not to keep it.
And once the capability vanished, the sea stayed available to whoever invested next.
And we did not invest.
We dismantled.
Then we forgot on purpose or by neglect.
I hear you all. I still disagree.
Disagreement is cheap. Reinforcement is not.
I'm tired. But I understand the shape of it now. A fleet built to project power outward. Then an empire deciding its future lives inward. And somewhere in that pause, another world begins to sail.
The ocean remembers movement.
And empires remember costs.
Either way, history sails on.